Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Wednesday, September 10th, just before 9 o'clock at night, and this is our daily recap video for LFGY, YieldMax's Crypto Industry Option Income ETF. As always, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1, posting when videos are released, as well as trades and distribution announcements. So today was YieldMax's distribution announcement for Group B and the weeklies. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But if you want in-depth coverage as far as what each paid, what the percentage annual yield was, and as also return of capital percentages, I made my weekly Wednesday video going over all that to help make these every night videos a little bit shorter. So the only thing we'll talk about in this video is LFGYs. When we take a look at how they performed today, LFGY was up. At one point, they were up real nice, getting close to $36 a share before dropping back down to $35.51. So still ending up positive, but just barely. Not as nice as things were looking earlier in the day. Had some decent moves. We will talk about them when we get to our spreadsheet. Core Scientific up over 10% though. That's a big move for sure. Might be probably the biggest. But let's go find out. Every day after 5:30, you're able to go to YieldMax's page, pick any fund, scroll down, and download the intraday trades. It'll give you this file. So if you download it too early, it will only show the 0 DTE trades, and it'll be much smaller. So once it's got everything on there, you know you've got it at the right timing. But we scroll down, LFGY trades go from line 515 to 539. Not bad at all, 24 trades. So let's go take a look at what they did. All right, before we talk about the trades, might as well talk about the distributions. Everybody wants to hear what they're getting paid this week. So how many times have I said I should have just stuck with my math? Estimate-wise, based on what they earned last week, was 17.4 cents. The math, the back of the napkin math that I came up with was 37.17 cents. That would have been a heck of a guess, but I ended up rolling it up to 42.5 cents since they've been liking to pay around 65% for a while now. I was 12% off with that guess, and they just paid their lowest payment. Well, they didn't pay it yet. They just announced their lowest payment yet. So if we take a look at LFGY's previous payments dating back to January of this year, they started out in the 70s, then the 60s, then the 50s, and the 40s. Got a nice 75 in there in the beginning of May, but 40s throughout, 40s, 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 and now we have, for the first time, broken into the 30s. So 37.84 cents per share. All right, when we take a look at the trades, they had trades for Galaxy where they were closing their calls for this week and rolling them out to next week. That cost $299,000. Hut 8 Corp, same thing, closing out for this week, rolling up and out to next week, cost $707,000. Nvidia closing the long and short calls for this week, and then only shorting calls or only selling short calls for next week. So no protection, depends on how you want to look at that further out long call, whether you want to call that protection against how much you might have to spend to close out the short call, or if you want to look at that as opening back up the upward movement in the event the stock takes off. But either way, just selling calls next week. That cost us $77,000. PayPal, same thing. Different thing. So we closed out our put spread for this week, and we went back to sorry, dog's I don't know if you could hear the dog come running in here. But let's see. Closing out that put spread and now selling calls again. Now that the stock has dropped so much, so now it'll probably start going up again, and we'll lose these calls too. But 67.50 is the strike price. That cost us 85,000. Riot Platforms closing out the calls for this week and selling calls for next week, along with buying further out of the money calls. That cost us $637,000. And then finally, XYZ closed our put spread and selling calls instead for next week. That cost us $33,600. I may have forgotten to put the orange on there for the full swap out. Let's see if XYZ had 960. They did, and I did mark it on this page. I just forgot to go back. So that was a complete close and roll as well. So we'll use our orange for under construction. That way we go to this page, we know things are changing and not to talk about it. All right, as far as the holdings, Bitmine Immersion was up 2.25%. That took our $45 calls into the money by 1.3%. BitDeer down 1.5%. They were already in the money with these 1350s. They dropped down, but are still in the money by 1%. So it is a good thing that they didn't pay to close them out yesterday, because they just got that much cheaper today after a drop and a time value decrease. CleanSpark up 3.7%. That hurt a little because they were already in the money on these 950s, and now they're 5.2% in the money. Coinbase Global down 1%. Again, they were in the money yesterday, still are today, but just barely now by 34 cents. So with that drop and another day ticking away, these will be much cheaper to close out than they would have been yesterday. Core Scientific, the big winner today, up over 10%, increasing our value by $800,000 plus. We got to capture most of that before these 1550 calls went into the money. I thought we said, maybe not. No, we didn't trade them at all. I thought maybe we just traded a portion of them. So no action taken. Circle Internet Group, the big loser, down 3.64%. We've got our calls are almost 10% out of the money now at 125. iShares Ethereum Trust ETF up 0.69%. Calls at 33.50 for next week are about 2.5% out of the money. Not a lot of money sitting on the sidelines. 925,000 in bonds and negative 435,000 in cash. So really less than $500,000. Galaxy Digital down 1.88%. So these calls were way in the money. I guess did Galaxy have a real big day yesterday? Galaxy's just been going since last Friday. So, if anything, at least it was better that they didn't close them yesterday. They closed them today after another day ticked by and another drop. So, you can only do what you can do. GameStop up 3.3%, took these 24s into the money by 1.5%. Robinhood down 0.88%. $124 calls for Friday are 5.5% out of the money. We got iBit, iShares Bitcoin Trust, up over 2%. There's no options to worry about, so it's just the increase, 376,000. Mara Holdings or Marathon Holdings down 0.44%. $16 calls are 0.88% out of the money, so they're sitting pretty perfect if they just stay right there. MBTX, no shares owned, just the call credit spread and a put debit spread. The 280s are out of the money by 4.19% after today's increase, and the puts purchased, which we want the stock to go down in order for this to work out, are 5.1% out of the money. Mercado Libre down 1%. They've got $2,430 calls sold for Friday that are 3.4% out of the money. Strategy down 0.63%. Calls are sold at 342.50 and 345, but if you take a look, there's 100 times more at 345, so this position really doesn't even matter. Basically 5 and 5.6% out of the money. NU Holdings up 1/3%. They were already in the money and went further, so $15 calls are 3.29% in the money. NVIDIA up 3.85%. All positions were closed and rolled. Opera up just under 0.5%. They've got calls sold at 19 and 20, but again, 100 times more at 20, so the 19 really don't make any difference. We're talking 4,000 compared to 190,000. But the ones that matter we're winning 1.6% out of the money. The 19s are about 3.5% in the money. PayPal down 3%. All positions closed and rolled. Riot Platforms up 7.8%. All positions closed and rolled. And Block down 2.3%. All positions closed and rolled. So all in all, those changes resulted in a $2.2 million increase in value. There's $187 million in assets under management, so we're approaching that 190 mark again. 5.3 million outstanding shares. And our NAV before the day started was 35.31. Obviously increased a little bit on the day. Most recent distribution, 44.1 cents last Friday. This Friday will be that 37.84 cents. All right, that's all I've got for you. I appreciate you watching. If you're looking for the dad joke, just swing over to the, where'd it go? Must already be back here. Nope. Okay, my computer doesn't want to work. There it is. Ulti video. Oh, it's not even out yet, but by the time you're watching this, it'll be sitting right there, and it's got the dad joke at the end. So if you don't have Ulti or Salty and you don't want to listen to me talk for 25 minutes, then just fast forward to the last minute and get the joke. All right, good night. Good luck trading tomorrow, and have a good day.